Welcome to Phil's Virtual Sewing Club. My name's Cindy, and today we're going to go over part 2 for the Baby Lock Allegro.
Let's get into some alphabets. I just want, many of you may or may not have an embroidery machine. If you don't, this is something, and you can use these as stitching along the edge of something, home deck, little girl's dress, anything. But if you want to go into the alphabets, all you do is touch this icon here. Okay, and it looks like we got mirror image going on. We don't want that, or repeat. So we want to clear this. I want to go back into my alphabet. Now you can see that the A. So if that happens to you, you can check to make sure that you have cleared out your repeat in your mirror image. So, okay, so let's spell out Allegro. So here we have our A, and we're going to say okay. And now, and I want to bring this to your attention too, in the manual, it does show all of the letters that you have available. We're going to use the regular font, and this is going to tell me exactly where my letters are. So the L, I'm going to go with a lowercase, so that's number 252. So we're at 201. And we're going to go to 251, one more, which is this one. And we say, okay. I forgot to push the memory key, so we're going to have to start all over. So let's clear that up, go back to our A, and we're going to start with 201. A little far. Okay, so we're going to start with the Allegro. I'm going to push my memory key this time, say okay, so I've got that entered, and now I'm going to go to the lowercase L, and which I'm referencing my manual is 252, so I'm going to go to 251 and one more, 252, and I'm going to say okay, and if you notice that, and that's our third one. We're waiting for our third. We have two. We're going to say okay again because we want another L. Now we want the lowercase e, which is 245. So we're going to go back, and it takes us back to that 10, and we're going to go to 245. And there's our E displayed, and we say okay. And we do have our all-purpose foot here. Okay, we've got the E. Now we're going to the G, which is number 247. So we're going to go forward. Say okay. Now we've got our fifth letter in there. We're going to go to the R. We're going to go back here. That's 258. And of course, these are in alphabetical order, so you can kind of guess that. We're going to say, okay, now we've got our sixth letter. And now we're going to go to the O. So we're going to back it up a little bit to the O. And we're going to say, okay. Now I want a space. So, because I want to put 2023 in there. So the space here in the manual shows it's number 291. It's just an open square. Okay, so I'm going to go to 291. And if you see that, it's just an open square. That's our space. I'm going to say okay. And now I can go to the numbers. Okay, so the number 2 is 283. So I'm going to go back. And we're going to say okay. And then the 0. Okay. We're going to go back forward to the 2. Okay. And then forward once to the 3. Okay, now we've got the 3 in there. So in order for us to repeat this, we're going to add another space. So that was 291. say okay. So now we've got our 13 in there, and we're ready to, we've got the repeat on, and we're ready to stitch. And it should start stitching out our Allegro. And I'm just guiding it along this edge of the previous decorative stitch. And it does have, the machine does offer a font here that is cursive. So if you choose that, you would just choose the letters appropriate for those letters, the cursive. Almost there. We'll just do 2 repeats. How cute is that? So now you can, if you don't have an embroidery machine, and if you want to use lettering, you have the ability with the Allegro to accomplish that. So let's go on to, let's do a little piecing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how easy it is with the 1/4 inch foot. I'm not going to change threads. Let's see. We have a 1/4 inch foot that is included with the machine, and it has your little flange here for your 1/4 inch. Not a flange, it's just a marking. Let's get that thread out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to put my little squares right sides together here. And I'm going to line it up with this edge here. So I want to go back to my center needle position, which I'm going to use for this, with this piecing foot. And it's going to give me the perfect 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so I'm lining it up right along the edge, and it's going to give me that perfect 1/4 inch seam. And I'm going to chain piece a little bit here, so just one more. We've got our perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm just going to finger press that open for right now. We're going to press it to the darker side. And then when I put my right sides together, here we go, they're going to nest. These seams are going to nest. So I'm just going to hold that. This makes piecing a breeze. Make sure I've got my seams there. And there, that's how easy it is to get that perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. It does a great job with the piecing with this machine. Now, one other thing I wanted to show you is blind hem. So I've already used my overcast as we used in the beginning along the edge. I overcast my edge, And to do a blind hem, first of all, I'm going to take my 1/4 inch piecing foot off and change it to my adjustable blind hem foot. There we go. This is the adjustable blind hem foot. And if you could see here, if you turn this little screw, it moves this guide out or in, however close you want to get to that. And our blind hem stitch is shown here on page 24. So if you could see it, it tells you everything you need to do, how to fold it, and I'm going to demonstrate that, how to fold it, stitch on the right side, and then how to set your guide. So we're going to use 28. Okay, there's 2 different blind hem options. One is 28, and it's a little bit further apart, and then that's 28. That's for like your cotton weight fabrics. And then you also have one, which is awesome, for stretch fabrics, which is 029. It's got that little zigzag stitch in there with that bite. So we're going to use 28 since we have a cotton weight fabric. So let's go over one. There we go. We got our, if you could see that. Okay, so we're going to do, I'm just going to keep this blue thread in. So in order to get my blind hem, and this is really what's nice about having that overcast too, I'm going to basically fold it back on itself. Try to show you this best I can. And I line my fold right along the edge of that edge, the straight edge of my overcast. So now I'm just going to kind of finger press this just a little bit just to keep it in place. And I raise my foot and I'm going to insert that guide right under that fold. So now what I need to do is I need to check the bite, and I'm just going to test this. I'm going to just use my needle up down, and this is nice to have. And now here where it swings to the left, and I want to basically see where that needle, you want it to just pick up the very edge of that hem so it's a blind hem. Let's see how it's a little bit off, so I want to pull it in. I can either use this and pull it out a little bit. I'm going to raise my foot and pull it out just a little bit. And I think that'll work fairly well. Okay. So you just want that needle on the left swing to barely hit that fold. So we're going to stitch. And this guide is so nice because you basically get going and it does the work for you once you set it up. And I'm using blue thread, so you're going to be able to tell. Okay, we're at the very end. Here's what it looks like on this side. And then you're going to open it up and see that I now have a blind hem. Okay, so now another thing I want to show you. I'm going to remove my adjustable blind hem foot. And this time I'm going to have to turn off my machine because what I'm going to show you is something that works great if you do a lot of top stitching. And that's using the single hole needle plate and the straight stitch foot. This is a straight stitch foot, okay? So I'm going to turn off the machine and I'm going to unscrew these 2 screws, remove this plate. First I'm going to do is take out my bobbin. So that's free. I'm going to turn off the machine and then take these 2 screws off, change my plate, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I want to show you, I've got my single hole needle plate installed and the straight stitch foot. Now this is a great thing to have for top stitching. It's going to give you a good quality top stitch, won't sink your top fabrics down. And what I did, I just basically, I'm going to use the same piece, and I folded over my edge once and then again. And I'm just going to basically top stitch this edge, and I'm going to show you how easy this is. I'm going to use the 1/4 inch mark here. And when I turn my machine on, I just want to notice that it does default to that center needle position. So, and anytime you have this foot on, it's going to limit you to what stitches you can use. It's only going to allow you to use stitches once a single hole needle plate is on that are in the center needle position because of it, if it's going to hit the foot or it's going to hit the plate, it's going to break your needle. So here we're just going to stitch this top stitch. It does a great top stitch. That single hole will make it so much smoother to stitch your top stitch seams. Okay, I'm gonna remove this plate again so we can go back, and we're gonna get into creating a buttonhole and then sewing on a button. So I'll be right back. Okay, now this is the buttonhole foot, and the fun thing about this is it's gonna make the perfect size buttonhole for my button, because I'm just going to insert it in the back here. It slides open and you put your button in there and you just push it shut, and then I'm going to install it on the machine. Okay, and then there's a lever here on the side that I'm going to push down, and it's going to go right behind this little lip here on the buttonhole foot, and that's going to stitch that's going to tell the machine when to stop and when to come back the other way. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our buttonhole selection down here. And I'm just going to use the default button hole right here. It's just a square buttonhole. And you know, I've got stabilizer in here. So typically when you put in a buttonhole, you're going to have some kind of stabilizer on the back of your fabric to keep that from bunching up, and it keeps it stable. So basically all we did was we selected our buttonhole, put our buttonhole foot on with the button installed, pulled our lever down, and we're ready to go. Just start stitching. Now I'm going to stop when it gets to the end here, and I'm going to pull out that little thread that I started with because I want to trim that off so it doesn't get caught in there. So there we go. And I'm just going to resume stitching. And it's going to automatically stop. And I'm just going to trim my threads. Perfect size buttonhole. Now we'll sew the button on. So let's get our button sewing foot on. This is the button sewing foot, and basically it's going to hold the button in place for me to sew that button on. So I'm going to just snap on my button sewing foot. And one thing I need to do is to remember to raise that lever. It's flashing at me to raise it, if you see it on the screen here. So I'm going to raise that lever up so we can go forward to sewing on our button. So let's see, the button sewing is number 21. So I'm going to advance over to 21, and if you see the display here, it shows, and the default width is 5 millimeters. So I'm going to have to double check this. This is one thing I'm going to, one time I'm going to have to turn my hand wheel and try to make sure I'm not going to hit my button. I'm going to place it so that we can probably do a, close this button once we get it on here. I'll have to open up that that buttonhole with my seam ripper before I can do that. But there's a center little notch here, and you can see that. And you just kind of line that up between the two holes on your button, and you want to gently turn your hand wheel towards you so that you are ensured that you're not going to hit that button. So you always want to test that before you start sewing your button. And you basically just sew your button, and we're going to stop. Cut the thread. Okay, so now I'm going to trim this one. I don't have my seam ripper handy, so I'm going to try to do this with my scissors. I'm going to cut my buttonhole open, being careful not to trim. And then here is my button sewn on. And I will show you that it's the perfect size buttonhole for my button. So wasn't that easy? Okay, now I've got my, I'm going to show you this open toe. It's a clear open toe, and it surely gives you a lot of visibility. It's great. We're going to do the applique, the hem stitching on this. Show you how easy it is. If you wanted to choose a satin, or if you wanted to do, I'm going to choose hem stitching for time's sake. But this foot gives you that full visibility, and it's a snap-on foot. And that does come with the machine, which is awesome. So I'm going to insert it, and I'm going to choose my hem stitch, which is number 46. So I'm going to go over 41, and then my single to 46. So okay, let me see. I think if I wanted to reverse that, all I would have to do is do my mirror image key. But this is the way I want it right now. I want it to take a bite into my fabric and stitch along the edge. So this is the one I'm going to choose right now. So I'm going to lower my, I'm going to start at the corner here. I'm going to line my needle up with the edge. And if you want to turn your hand wheel to make sure that you got a good start on that, you want it right on the edge. So I've got it right there. And I've got a piece of stabilizer here, which helps in keeping my fabric from moving. And it's going to take a bite, stitch along, take a bite, and look at that visibility with that foot. We're going to stitch right along the edge. It's going to take a bite. We're going to stitch the edge here. Okay, now I'm going to, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Let's see if we can increase this now. I'm going to take a bigger length further apart, and I want to take a bigger bite. So let's go do that, and I'm going to show you the difference. So you can adjust this hem stitch to your desired spacing. Look how beautiful that is. You can go, here's a smaller one, and then we adjusted it to take a wider bite between and a wider bite into the fabric. So that works really nice. And the visibility that this clear open toe foot gives you is awesome. So now I'm going to set up and we're going to use our zipper foot. Okay, now I'm set up with my machine. It's going to do a center zipper. I basted the seam shut. I basted it and then opened it up, pressed it open. Then I used Wonder Tape and put my zipper down, face down on that seam. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to install a zipper. So first of all, I'm going to use the left needle position, and I'm going to show you I do have to make an adjustment. So the left needle position is O2. And O2 is bringing it all the way over to the left side, and I need it scooted over to the right just a bit. So I can adjust this by moving my needle. I accidentally did that. I'm going to go back to default there, 2.5. But anyway, I moved it over, and every time I touch this, my needle moves. And every time I touch this, that needle is moving. So I want it to snug up right against that opening in my zipper foot for the needle. One more, and I think I've got it. And I'm going to turn my hand wheel to test it to make sure. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the edge of this with the edge of the seam. This is a 5/8 seam, and I'm just going to line that up, and now I'm ready to sew it. I can raise my foot up, and I'm just going to stitch across the bottom until I get over to the other side. And I'm just going to ride my foot along the edge there. Coming along to the top here. That zipper foot allows you to get right up into there. Now all I can do is open this, but you're going to remove this, and then you have your zipper. I can remove more of this, give you a better idea. And like I said, this is basted, so it should come out very easily. There we go. Then you're going to remove your threads. And there we have it. We have our zipper. That easy. So this Allegro is very versatile, and it can do a lot of things. Let me show you one thing else. I'm going to show you really quick something. With this zipper foot, I'm going to create a little bit of my own piping too. So I got a little piece of cording, and I folded my strip of fabric, and this is another one you get butt it right up to that and get it nice and close. While I have my zipper on, I'm going to show you this. It's going to create this stuff, you know, custom piping. You can use whatever fabric you want. And you just basically just snug it up against the edge there to create your piping. look at that. Made my piping. Now let me just show you this. I'm going to take 2 pieces of fabric here. And this is, if you want to encase this piping, let's go this way. Basically put these 2 together, all the right sides together. And we're going to put that under our pressure foot and snug it just like we did creating the piping. We're going to get it right up close and personal with that. And oh, there we go. You want to use this around the edge of home decor. Look how nice that works. So another awesome foot that's very versatile on the Allegro. Now this machine has been packed with all kinds of features, and I think that you're really with the throat space. If you want to do free motion quilting, it does come with a free motion foot, so you can install that. And everybody has their own style of free motion and quilting, so you can use that machine. Beautiful for free motion quilting. A lot of space here. The manual is very detailed, self-explanatory for this end machine. I just think it's really gonna serve you well. It's got a lot of options. It's really easy to learn. And if you have any interest in getting a demo on this, I would highly recommend that you visit Larry or Annette at Phil's Sewing in Washington, Missouri. Anything we've used here today, they can get for you as far as the threads. Now, the beautiful threads that I've been using, this is something fairly new, and it's a Sensa Green Smart Box. Beautiful colors. You can use it for embroidery or quilting. Another option here is there's a Baby Lock 12-foot kit that works companion with this machine. It has 12 different feet that can assist you with all the extras, and it does give you the instructions on how to use each one of those feet. That's a plus. There's also a tote that is available for this machine. It makes it easy to take it back and forth to classes. So if you want to, we'll show images of this. So I would highly recommend just sitting down at Phil's or just talking to Larry and Annette about this machine, because it really does have a lot of features for the value. If you like this video, please ring the bell, or like the video and then ring the bell, and you will be able to subscribe for any future videos. Until next time.